Hello everyone and welcome to my BTG CBS update channel. The grand chandelier in the Dupree mansion's sitting room cast a warm but uneasy glow over Sharon and Vernon as they stood near the towering Christmas tree, its ornaments catching the light like fragile secrets. Sharon's arms were crossed tight, her manicured fingers digging into her sleeves. She kept her voice low, almost a whisper, as if the walls themselves might carry the words upstairs to the wrong ears. "What if Leslie tells Anita?" she asked, eyes fixed on Vernon. He leaned against the marble mantel, swirling the bourbon in his glass without drinking it. Vernon exhaled slowly, the sound heavy in the quiet room. "Leslie told me herself she can keep it quiet. For now." Sharon's head snapped toward him, disbelief sharpening her features. "For now? That's your assurance?" Vernon gave a small, tired shrug. "It's what we've got." Sharon stepped closer, her voice dropping even lower. "Can we trust her, Vernon? Really trust her?" He finally met her gaze, and the corner of his mouth twisted into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Oh hell no," he said plainly, the words landing between them like a stone dropped into still water. Sharon closed her eyes for a moment, the weight of it all pressing down on her shoulders. The tree lights blinked softly, red and gold, indifferent to the fear coiling in the room. Across town, in the cozy glow of Ted's living room, the television flickered with the black and white charm of an old holiday classic. Empty pizza boxes sat open on the coffee table, grease stains marking the cardboard like abstract art. Shanice reached for another slice, the cheese stretching in thin strings as she pulled it free. She handed it across to Ted on a paper plate, her smile easy and unguarded. "Merry Christmas, Ted," she said softly. He took the slice, then paused, holding up his fork like a toast conductor's baton. "Merry Christmas to everyone," he proclaimed with theatrical grandeur, his voice booming just enough to make Shanice laugh out loud. She shook her head at him, the sound of her laughter filling the small space between them. They settled back into the couch, shoulders brushing, knees angled toward each other without either of them thinking twice about it. No one was watching, no one was asking questions, no one demanded they name what this was. It was just pizza and an old movie and the quiet comfort of company that didn't need explaining. The snow outside the window fell in fat, silent flakes, and inside, the room felt warm in a way that had nothing to do with the radiator humming in the corner. In Eva's apartment, the lights were dimmed low, strings of colored bulbs draped along the bookshelf casting soft reds and greens across the walls. Isaiah and Eva sat pressed close on the couch, a shared blanket draped over their legs. He turned to her, his hand resting lightly on her knee, curiosity and something deeper in his eyes. "Tell me something," he said, voice low and steady. "What does a woman like you want?" Eva looked at him for a long moment, her lips curving into a small, knowing smile. "What everyone wants," she answered simply, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. The words hung there, gentle and open. Then Isaiah leaned in and she met him halfway. Their kiss started slow, careful, then deepened with the kind of certainty that comes when two people decide they're done waiting. Hands found shoulders, then necks, then hair. The movie on the television kept playing, forgotten. Outside this small bubble, Eva's life had been tangled for months in complicated triangles and old loyalties. But here with Isaiah, everything felt new and uncomplicated, like turning a fresh page on Christmas night. At the Hamilton house, the mood was anything but light. The Christmas lights outside blinked cheerfully, but inside the living room, tension crackled like ice on a thawing lake. Haley stood near the fireplace, arms folded, watching Bill as he stared at an old framed photo on the mantel, one of the Duprees gathered years ago, laughing at some long-forgotten celebration. "You have to remember," Haley said, her voice tight but controlled. "The Duprees aren't your family anymore. I am. We are." Bill didn't turn around right away. When he finally did, his expression was distant, as if he were still standing in that old photograph. "They were my family for a long time, Haley." She took a step toward him. "Were." Past tense. He didn't answer, but the silence said enough. Somewhere beneath his careful composure, Danny's name lived like an ember he couldn't quite extinguish. He'd never said it aloud to Haley, how losing Danny still felt like the biggest mistake of his life, but sometimes in the way his eyes drifted or his voice softened at the mention of the old days, Haley felt it anyway. She didn't press further tonight. Maybe it was Christmas mercy, Or maybe she was simply tired of fighting ghosts. Either way, the space between them felt wider than the room itself. Chelsea pushed open the front door of her mother's house, the cold air rushing in behind her before she kicked it shut. The smell of cinnamon and pine hit her immediately, along with the sound of laughter spilling from the living room. She rounded the corner and stopped dead, blinking at the sight of her sister Naomi standing in the middle of the rug with what looked like a plush pink octopus balanced precariously on her head. Long fabric tentacles dangled down over Naomi's ears. "What on earth is that?" Chelsea asked, half laughing already. Naomi's grin turned mischievous. She reached up and squeezed a small rubber bulb hidden in one of the tentacles. A thin stream of water shot out from the toy's tail and hit Chelsea square in the face. Chelsea yelped, wiping her eyes as water dripped down her chin. From the couch, Jacob doubled over laughing, Nicole clutching her stomach beside him. Danny and Andre weren't far behind, their laughter bright and unrestrained. Naomi struck a triumphant pose, the ridiculous toy still perched on her head. "Gotcha," she said proudly. Chelsea shook her head, flicking water at her sister in retaliation, but she was smiling wide. For a few minutes the room was nothing but easy laughter and playful chaos, the kind of silly, harmless joy that Christmas sometimes still managed to deliver, even when heavier things waited just around the corner. Later that evening, when the house had quieted some and most of the family had gathered in the main living room of the Dupree mansion, Vernon and Anita sat together on the long leather couch near the fireplace. The tree lights twinkled behind them, and the fire crackled low. The others, children, grandchildren, a few close friends, moved in and out of the room, carrying plates of dessert or refilling drinks, their voices a gentle hum. Vernon held Anita's hand, his thumb brushing over her knuckles again and again. She had asked everyone to sit down soon, said there was something she wanted to share. When the room finally settled, Anita drew a slow breath. Vernon looked at her, already knowing but still hoping he was wrong. "Cancer?" he asked when she'd said the word, his voice breaking on the single syllable. His eyes filled instantly, tears shining in the firelight. Anita nodded, scared but steady. "Yes, but I'm not going anywhere yet." She squeezed his hand hard. "I want to see them all this year, Vernon. Our children, our grandchildren, and their children one day." Her voice wavered only slightly. Vernon couldn't speak, he just stared at her, tears slipping down his cheeks. Anita straightened her shoulders, lifted her chin. "I want this to be the best damn Dupree Christmas ever," she declared, fierce and clear. A ripple of emotion moved through the room, shock, sorrow, love all at once. No one spoke for a long moment. Then slowly people moved closer. Arms reached out, hands found shoulders, someone started crying softly. Vernon pulled Anita into him, holding her like she was the only solid thing left in the world. The fight, she had said. And in that quiet, tear-streaked circle it began. Not with despair, but with the stubborn shared determination to make every remaining moment count. The tree lights kept blinking, soft and steady, as if refusing to let the darkness win tonight.